So those of you who haven't been living under a rock will know that Andrew Lloyd Webber's Sunset Boulevard is in the West End.
You're right. So Sunset Boulevard is back at the Savoy Theatre on the Strand with everyone's favourite belter, Nicole Scherzinger, in the role of Norma Desmond.
Amazing. Right, so first question is, were you a Pussycat Dolls fan or maybe a Nicole Solo fan?
Nicole Solo, less so. Pussycat Dolls, love. I actually think they were robbed of a future seminal banger when they dropped React, that was dropped during COVID, if you remember.
Yeah.
And just really made it. But that is a superb pop song.
Amazing. Right, okay. So now I'm glad that that's out of the way because obviously...
Why are you, Phil? Are you...
Well, Pussycat Dolls, they never really resonated with me. Something never lit.
Buttons is amazing.
When I grow up, I quite liked.
I have a story about when I grow up.
You are full of stories.
So back in the days of GAY, when I used to go to GAY when I was a twink.
You were a twink?
Maybe I was never a twink.
No facial hair?
No, I've always had facial hair. Like out of the womb, I had facial hair.
Can you be a twink with facial hair?
I don't think there's any photos of me without facial hair. It's also because I'm pre-digital.
Find them, goddammit. I want to see
those.
those.
One, I'm going to give you a prize. And I was in GAY, and it was Christmas, where they used to have that big Christmas tree, and we just watched the X Factor. And that song you just described came on, Phil, and there was a throwdown. So there was two groups of gays having a full-on dance-off against each other in GAY. I was leading a charge, and I had three of my huns behind me just going, na 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 na. And it was actually quite an amazing moment. It stayed with me.
It's quite frenetic and
it's not
scatty. Yeah.
It's scatty. No, it's not. No, let's not use that word. It's not. It's maybe it is scatty. Yeah. Scatty.
No, you're saying it's a stinker. How you quickly change your opinions.
It's not a stinker. It's actually great. So yeah, let's get back to Sunset Boulevard. So I'm a fan. Obviously, there's been some big old names sitting in that Norma Desmond seat. You know, Patti LuPone, someone who will take your eyebrows off at the back of the ears. I mean, what a belter. Glenn Close.
I'm not going to be ignored, Dan. Quite pleased with that one.
Yeah, not bad. You maybe are the next Norma Desmond. So it's staged in a very interesting way. So it's quite stark, very black and white. They have a very interesting camera device that makes it feel like, you know, the story of Norma. She was a star pre-talkies. So
well, I'm going to surprise you, actually. I might shock you on this review because I've never seen Sunset Boulevard, the movie.
What a weirdo. Call yourself gay, man.
I know. I'm going to hand back my gay card now.
Please hand it over. Norma is a star from the old days before the talkies, you know, so it was all eye work and looking beautiful. And her star has dwindled over time, and it really follows her story about love lost, finding new love. And it's great. So, you know, Nicole steps into a big pair of shoes, which have been played by some very big stars. She is, as you know, a vocal powerhouse, and she does not disappoint. You know, she does with one look, and literally, you know, it makes your hair stand on end. It's quite amazing.
Yeah.
She's hammy, but I think to play Norma Desmond, you have to be hammy.
Is she a good choice when we think about an aging starlet, movie starlet?
This is a very good point, folks. We discussed this because they don't do any kind of aging to Nicole. She looks quite glam bags. I was joking that they could make her look like Kiki out of Kiki and Herb.
Amazing.
But obviously that would not happen with Nicole. But you do get a moment of young Norma Desmond. So what they kind of do is rather than age Nicole, they bring in like a 17-year-old version of Nicole / Norma, and that's how you kind of reflect back on her youth.
So just a few years ago then,
which is very, very, I mean, almost like twins.
Yeah.
So a lot of this camera work, and what I would say is one of my small-ish criticisms is that this device they use, which is kind of they hold this camera and they move around with it, is used a lot in the first act or the first half. And it's kind of overused to a bit. I've actually enjoyed the second half better, but it's very stark, very black and white. There's some beautiful set pieces. It feels at times like contemporary dance, and they use some very interesting lighting structures. You know, With One Look and Perfect Day, which we all love and care for because of Dina Carroll, also intertwines nicely through all of this. So it's super enjoyable. She's a powerhouse. I have some comments from people online that I can't quote them. Some people have mentioned the word drag queen, but I couldn't comment. Some people have mentioned, it was like she was in the final heats of X Factor trying to sing herself out of the bottom two. Can't comment. But what I would say, is Nicole is a special person and she has got star quality, and you feel that. And it's a really fun, great production. You're in the bowels of the Savoy. The Savoy Theatre is 4 floors down. It's really in the bowels of London. They do some clever things where they actually go onto the street around the Savoy as part of it, which I think, so it's framed in a very interesting way. The scenography is very lovely. The way they've considered the material. There's a few missteps, but I won't go into that on the review. Just say I really, really enjoyed it, and I think she's just a very interesting and fabulous human being, Nicole. The reviews will come and go about whether or not she's a good Norma Desmond or not. But
yeah, she's charismatic though, isn't she? I mean, she has stage presence.
Exactly. She gives you what you want, right? You've got a big star. She comes on, she belts out the numbers. I mean, she really can belt it. Jury's out. I'm not gonna throw too much shade at this. Nicole's fantastic. I do think some of the devices that they use within it I'll get a bit tired, but if you want to go to the West End show, have a great time, go see it. It's fun.
Yeah, because it's been getting a lot of 5-star reviews. I mean, I noticed that Daily Mail gave it 5 stars. Shouldn't really, concentrate on that too much, perhaps, with Daily Mail. But what would your star rating be?
You know what? I'm going to give it a low 4, but it's a 4. I do think it's very clever in what it does, but at times it trips itself up by trying to be too clever.
Right. You could have done without that camera stuff.
The camera stuff is good, and they do a lot of stuff where they're in the dressing rooms and whatever. But what I will say is, if you're trying to frame something of the past, and then you do something in a dressing room where you have very modern nods and bits of mise en scène, that in itself is jarring. So decide. But you kind of can't have it both ways. And there are some things in the audience kind of laugh, but I think it pulls you out of the moment. And that would be my subjective views of my own, don't at me or at me comments.
I love views of your own, and I love your subjective views. So it's Nicole Scherzinger in Sunset Boulevard, and it's on at the Savoy Theatre. Well, we very rarely do shows. I mean, I know you did Madonna recently, but obviously West End shows, theatre shows. So it's a first,
no, that is very true. And actually, for a lot of people, they were influenced by Sunset Boulevard, not by the theatre show, but by the film.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I think that's where
connected.
It is connected, and I think you should watch the film. It's super interesting, and you get a different Norma. I think that's the thing, I think I shared with you, Phil, some clips of Nicole talking. She's trying to do her own Norma, and everyone should do their own Norma. Be your own Norma. I'm going to be my own Norma. You be your own Norma.
And now I'm going to have a look for those Twinkie Sean photos, because
you're never going to find it. Anyway, listen, all of you out there, and I've been around the scene for 1,000 million years. You ain't going to find it because I'm pre-digital.
We'll let you know, hun.
SMR. Yeah, right.
Fabulous. Thanks as always, Sean, and I'll see you on the next Boys on Film review. Don't forget to subscribe, everyone. Leave a comment and tap and do what young people do.
I know you theatre queens are going to come for me, so I'm ready.